My name is Roy Doswigan, and I'll be reading the Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss. I believe this is for ages 6 to 8. I found it in the reference part of chapter 14. The Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss. On the last day of summer, 10 hours before fall, my grandfather took me out to the wall. For a while, he stood silent. Then he finally said, with a very sad shake of his very old head, "As you know, on this side of the wall we are Yuks. On the far other side of this wall live the Zooks." Then my grandfather said, "It's high time that you knew of the terribly horrible thing that Zooks do. In every Zook house, in every Zook town, every Zook eats his bread with the butter side down." But we Yuks, as you know, when we breakfast or sup, spread our bread, Grandpa said, with the butter side up. "That's the right, honest way," Grandpa gritted his teeth, "so you can't trust a Zook who spreads bread underneath. Every Zook must be watched. He has kinks in his soul. That's why, when I was youth, I made watching my goal. Watching Zooks for the Zook watching Border Patrol." In those days, of course, the wall wasn't so high, and I could look any Zook square in the eye. If he dared to come close, I would give him a twitch with my tufted, prickly snickberry switch. For a while that worked fine, and all the Zooks stayed away, and our country was safe. Then one terrible day, a very rude Zook by the name of Van Itch snuck up and slingshotted my snickberry switch. With my broken off switch and my head hung in shame, to the chief Zookaroo in great sorrow I came. But our leader just smiled, and he said, "You're not to blame, and those Zooks will be sorry that they started this game. We'll dress you up bright in a fancier suit. We'll give you fancier slingshot to shoot." He ordered the boys in the back room to figure, but build me some sort of triple sling jigger. With my triple sling jigger, I sure felt much bigger. I marched to the wall with great vim and great vigor, right up to Van Itch with my hand on the trigger. "I'll have no more nonsense," I said with a frown, "from Zooks who eat bread with the butter side down." Van Itch looked quite sickly. He ran off quite quickly. I'm unhappy to say he came back the very next day in a spiffy new suit with a big new machine. He snarled and he said, looking frightfully mean, "You may fling those hard rocks with your triple sling jigger, but I also now have my own hand on the trigger. My wonderful weapon, the jigger rock snatch 'em. We'll fling 'em right back as quick as we catch 'em. We'll have no more nonsense. We'll take no more gup from you Yuks who eat with the butter side up." I have failed, sir," I sobbed as I made my report to Chief Yukaroo in the headquarters fort. He just laughed. "You've done nothing of the sort. Our slingshots have failed. That was old-fashioned stuff. Slingshots, dear boy, are not modern enough. All we need is some newfangled kind of gun. My boys in the back room have already begun to think up of a walloping, whizzing, zinger one. My bright boys are thinking. They're on the right track. They'll think one up quick, and we'll send you right back." They thought of a great one. They certainly did. They thought of a gun called the Kickapoo Kid, which loaded with powerful poo-a-doo powder, ants, eggs, bees' legs, and dried fried clam chowder. They carefully trained a real smart dog named Daniel to serve as our country's first gun-toting spaniel. Then Daniel, a Kickapoo spaniel, and I marched back up to the wall with our heads held high, while everyone cheered in the cheered-filled sky. "Fight, fight for the butter side up, do or die." Well, we didn't do and we didn't quite might die, but we sure did get worsted, poor Daniel and I. Van Itch was there too, and he said, the old pig. The boys in my back room invented this rig, called the 8-nozzled elephant-toted boom blitz. It shoots high explosive sour cherry stone pits and will put your dumb kickapoo kid in the fritz. Poor Daniel and I were scared out of our wits. Once more by Van Itch, I was bested and beat. Once again I limped home with the wall in defeat. I dragged and I sagged, and my spirits were low as I thought that they would ever go. When I heard a boom, blah, and diddly-dilly-dill, our butter-up band marched up over the hill. The chief yuckaroo had sent them to me, along with the right-side-up song girls to greet me. They sang, "Oh, be faithful, believe in thy butter," and they lifted my spirits right out of the gutter. "My boy," smiled Chief Yuckaroo, "we've just voted and made you general. You've been promoted. Your pretty new uniform's ready. Get in it. The big war is coming and you're going to begin it. And what's more, this time you're certain to win it." My boys in the back room have finally found how. Just wait till you see what they've puttered up now. Their great new machine, you'll fly over that wall and clobber those butter-down zooks one and all. Those boys in the back room sure know how to putter. They made me a thing called the utterly sputter, and I jumped aboard with my heart all a-flutter and steered upward the land of the upside-down butter. This machine was so modern, so frightfully new, that no one knew quite exactly just what it would do. It had several faucets that sprinkled goo, which somehow would sprinkle the zooks as I flew, and gum up that upside-down butter they chew. I was racing pell-mell when I heard a voice yell, "If you sprinkle us zooks, you'll get sprinkled as well." Van Itch had a sputter exactly like mine. He yelled, "My blue gooer is working just fine, and I'm here to say if yooks can goo zooks, you'd better forget it, 'cause zooks can goo yooks." I flew right back home, and as you may have guessed, I was downright despondent, disturbed, and depressed. And I saw just as soon as I stepped back on land, so were all of the girls from the butter-up band. The chief drum majorette, Ms. Yucky and Sue, said that was a pretty sour flight that you flew, and Chief Yuckaroo has been looking for you. I raced to his office. The place was a sight. "I have no fears," said the chief. "Everything is all right. My bright back room boys have been brighter than bright. They've thought up a gadget that's newer than new. It is filled with mysterious moo-laka-moo and can blow all of those zooks clear to Salamagoo. They've invented the Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo. You just run to the wall like a nice little man. You drop this bomb on those zooks as fast as you can. I've ordered all the yooks to stay safe underground while Bitsy Big Boy Boomeroo is around." As I raced for that wall with the bomb in my hand, I noticed every last yook in our land was obeying the Chief Yuckaroo's grim command. They were all bravely marching with banners aflutter down a hole for their country in right side up butter. That's when Grandfather found me. He grabbed me. He said, "You should be down in that hole and you're up here instead. But perhaps this is all for the better somehow. You'll see me make history right here and right now." Grandpa leapt up that wall with a lopulous leap. He cleared his hoarse throat in a bobulous beat. He screamed, "Here's the end of that terrible town, full of zooks who eat bread with their butter side down." In that very instant, we heard a clup, clup of the feet of the wall, and old Van Itch clopped up. The boys in his back room had made him one too. In his fist was another big boy boomeroo. I'll blow you, he yelled, into pork and wee beans. I'll butterside you up into small smithereens. Grandpa, I shouted, be careful, oh gee, who is going to drop it, will you or will he? Be patient, Grandpa said. We will see. We will see. And that is the end of The Butter Battle book by Dr. Seuss.